the much anticipated.
Testing, testing. Audio. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So, I've never done this before. I've never made a YouTube channel. No. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I've never done this before. I've never made a YouTube video. I only have a YouTube channel just so I can leave snarky comments on other people's videos. But something about this guy just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And so I decided to fuck it. I'm going to do a YouTube reaction. Because I got nothing better to do with my life than to, criticize other people's opinions on the internet. So I'm reviewing Amazon's Fallout is a glorified humiliation ritual by the YouTuber The Synthetic Man, because he seems to be the punching bag of the week. So I've never watched him. I've never watched any of his videos. I don't really know what kind of YouTuber he is. He seems like one of those anti-woke dudes that don't really know what woke means. So I don't really have high hopes that this is going to be good. But I'm going to try to be as fair and as reasonable as I can be. But, you know what? Let's begin.
Anticipated Fallout TV adaptation has finally released. And who am I kidding? We all knew this would be bad.
It was okay. Like, there's a lot of problems with the Fallout show, but, like, overall, it was pretty good. I can nitpick a lot about it, it has its pacing issues, and a lot of the character stuff doesn't really work. And as a fan of the series, I haven't played the first one, but I've played 2, 3, New Vegas, and halfway of 4. So I consider myself a bit of a fan of the series. But, like, despite some lore issues I have with the show, or some, like, creative choices the showrunners made, it's an okay show. It's pretty good. I wouldn't say... I guess my tolerance of what equates to a bad show is a bit different from what he considers bad. But,
Is anyone surprised? I mean, a single person. I made a video just reacting to the first trailer and knew this would be an absolute butchering. And why is that? Well,
butchering's a strong word. I mean, if you don't like it, it's fine, but I wouldn't call it a butchering.
Not just because it's Amazon, and we all know from Rings of Power and various...
Rings of Power wasn't good, but Amazon has some good stuff. The Boys is pretty good. I'd even go so far as to say Reacher is a good show. Like, there's a lot of black marks on the Amazon, like, original list, but there's also some good stuff.
Other shows they made that they really don't care about the source material of any series, franchise, no matter how beloved. I mean, if they didn't care about...
This just comes off as, like, really whiny bullshit right now. Because, like... Yeah, it just comes off as, like, super whiny. Like, just talk about the Fallout show. Talk about what you don't like about it. Just... I feel like he's, like, trying to prep his audience into, like, already agreeing with him by saying, yeah, it's like the other things we don't like. And when it comes to, like, media analysis, that's, like, a really, like, it's a shitty way to review things. It's also incredibly it's very lazy, too. I'm like, dude, just tell me why the Fallout show sucks. Tell me why you don't like it. Like, I'll be willing to have a conversation with someone if they just honestly tell me their problems with a piece of media, instead of just going down, like, a bullet list of, like, a bunch of other things you don't like. Right? If I wanted to hear about your opinions on, like, Rings of Power, I'd watch your videos on Rings of Power. I clicked on a Fallout video. Talk about Fallout. Don't talk about Rings of Power. Talk about Fallout.
Lord of the Rings, they sure as hell were not going to care about Fallout. But not just that, we know Bethesda doesn't care about Fallout, at least.
Listen, I have problems with Bethesda as a studio too, don't get me wrong. But like, your opinion on Bethesda as a game studio and like their business practices don't really matter when you're trying to review an adaptation of their work. Also, why are you bringing up a 10-year-old tweet? Was it 9 years old? Like, I don't even think Twitter looks like this anymore, right? Just listen, I don't care about what Bethesda's opinion on things is. Like, Bethesda can be a piece of shit company and this could be a bad show. Those things could both be true. But you'd have to like bring up why you think that instead of just assuming it is.
At least the lore, the canon, anything that they weren't directly involved with. And honestly, in some cases, even some of their older games, they don't care about continuity in the least bit. Now for this.
Okay, so like continuity and a lot. I understand the importance of continuity and like the canon, but sometimes in like long running series, continuity can get in between a good story. As long as the story's good and as long as like the thing is good, like they could make a sequel to New Vegas like Fallout New Vegas is my favorite game of all one of my favorite games of all time. If they make a sequel to if they make a good Fallout game that's just as good as New Vegas but it contradicts New Vegas lore wise, I wouldn't care because the game is good. The story in the game is good. Sometimes people get hung up on like the nitty-gritty of just like established lore too much and it hampers like future stories. I forget the exact quote, but George Miller, the director of the Mad Max series, doesn't has stated he doesn't really care about like established lore. To the point where like the Mad Max series doesn't really have like a solid continuity because of that. George R. R. Martin has been the author of the Game of Thrones series. Has also kind of been vocal about that as well. Um, he also has been pretty vocal on like adapters making their own thing with established lore. So I know it's a coin flip a lot of the times, but again, he's not talking about what's been changed and why that's bad. He's just being really vague about the changes and him being like really snide about it. If there's been changes to the lore, just explain what's been changed and why it's bad. Right?
Sake of maintaining relevancy, I'm only going to review the first episode in this video, and I'll review the whole season next week. Every single episode dropped at the same time, so on the one.
See, this is a terrible way of reviewing a piece of media. You're basically going to be reviewing the whole show before it's finished. Like that's not good, right? Like if you're going to sit down and like review episode 1 as its own thing, that's one thing, but he's clearly not going to do that. He's clearly already made his mind about the series as a whole from watching a single episode, right? I mean, who puts the point? Who names a video title? Amazon's Fallout is a glorified humiliation ritual after only seeing one episode. right? Like it's really weird. This guy seems like oddly defensive about he comes off as weirdly defensive about like the Fallout series, but like not in a really specific way. He it seems like he's taking this as a personal attack against him. And you know, that's some whiny ass bullshit that I don't really understand. But we're only a minute in. It could get better.
On one hand, that's totally a good thing because this will be gone and forgotten in no time.
It probably won't be gone or forgotten. A lot of people have watched this show. It got renewed for season 2. Like, people generally seem to like this show. Like, come on, man. You're playing it up to your audience, but we both know you're just talking out your ass right now.
Time flat because I don't think anyone who's a real fan of Fallout is going to consider this canon, especially.
I mean, again, canon. I've been a comic book fan like my entire life. Like I have distinct memories of when like I'm 4 or 5 years old. I'm going to a comic shop and buying Batman stuff, and like canon to me is really subjective because there's dozens of interpretations of characters that contradict one another and events that contradict one another made by different artists and different writers different decades apart. And like, you know, comic books kind of have that like weird floaty continuity that changes every couple of years or with different reboots or different reimagining. So I guess canon to me doesn't really matter as long as the story is good. So when I hear like complaints about like the rigidity so like I guess complaints to how rigid a story takes oh excuse me. So like a story's like relationship to canon is like secondary to me as long as the story's good. You know?
Especially because of all of the retcons, inconsistencies, it's obvious the showrunners didn't give a single shit about the Fallout universe, yet Todd Howard said this is canon. I fucking hate Todd Howard at this point.
I hate Todd Howard too, but I don't know. Your opinions on Todd Howard don't really matter to me when you want to give like an honest review of a product. Like if I'm trying to give an honest review on like a movie or music or a show or a video game, like loading the conversation, the review up with my personal opinions on like the artist or like the creative process behind it, like as the first thing I say, kind of just paints my opinion as kind of petty. I think, like, don't get me wrong, like Todd Howard's like involvement does rub me the wrong way because he kind of comes off as like a self-serious dickweed who likes to take like credit for shit he didn't do. And I can understand why someone would have a problem with him personally and like how he runs his company and like how his influence like negatively affects like the projects under the Bethesda banner. But like, I guess what I'm trying to say is if you have a problem with the Fallout show, just give me your problems with the Fallout show. I don't care about like the behind the scenes shit. Just tell me why it's bad. It could like your problems with Todd Howard can be 100% legitimate, and you know I can agree with a lot of them, but like You haven't even started talking about the show yet. We're like a minute and a half in, you haven't even talked about like the first scene. We're like a tenth of the way in. And you haven't talked about why it's bad. You're just talking about that it's bad. And that, you know, it just comes off as like whiny bullshit to me.
Point. I don't care if he's not directly involved with any of Bethesda's projects and he's basically just...
How long does this go for? When does he... Okay, wait.
He played some kind of cowboy character.
2 minutes in. Okay.
Was famous for something. I don't think they explained it in this. As of right now, he is Cooper Howard, a Marine veteran who is famous for something.
He's an actor. He's an actor. Do you... Okay.
I don't think they explained it in this scene.
So, yeah, he only talks about... He talks for 2 straight minutes before he even touches on the prologue. I mean, really tight script editing, can I just say.
But they imply he played some kind of cowboy character. I don't know if it's for commercials or military propaganda.
He's an actor. They're in Hollywood. He's a famous cowboy in like a pseudo 1950s. He's an actor, bro. Like, this is just set dressing, and like I feel like if he doesn't get like a 20-minute like scene of exposition explaining like who people are, why they're doing the things they are, like he's not smart enough to just like take the scene in and like understand things through context clues. But like he thinks that's a problem from the show's perspective. Well, it's just an issue for him or people like him who just aren't really... I don't want to say stupid. I feel like that would be very, very insultive. I don't think insultive is a word. That's ironic. But yeah, I don't want to be mean, but this just seems like you're complaining about the show don't tell aspects of like storytelling. You want people to tell you exactly what's happening. And, you know, that's... I mean, it's an opinion. But, you know, it's just your opinion, man.
And now he just does birthday parties for alimony payments.
No, that's a joke. It's not an alimony payment. I mean, maybe it was. It's the first episode. But, like, if you know anything about, like, the real 1950s and, like, the Hollywood blacklist, this is just this timeline's version of that.
And I find this even more funny because his kid is mixed race.
Why is that funny? Why is that funny? He has a mixed race kid. What is that what's so funny about that?
So his black wife divorced him, and now he plays fucking birthday parties. How black-pilling is that? And at the risk of getting a shit ton of dislikes from normies, just like my review of the first episode of The Last of Us, I find this even more funny because if you know anything about marriage statistics, you would know that white male, black female actually has the lowest divorce rates.
That's a little weird. That's a little... Right? That's a little off. Why do you have this? Why is this your first main criticism you're putting effort into, like, describing? Like, when people tell me they don't like the Fallout show, it's usually like they didn't like the characters or the writing or the pacing, or some things didn't make sense. But like, if I wrote a list about if I wrote a list of all my problems I had with this show, interracial divorce rates probably wouldn't be on the first page, right? And it's weird that it is for you. Like, you haven't talked about you spent 2 minutes just talking about how much you hate Bethesda, and in the first minute of you actually talking about like the prologue, it's it's interracial divorce rates. That's your first bullet point. Um okay.
So in a way, you could almost say this is anti-propaganda, but I still think it's promoting race mixing as
What okay.
basically every show on television does. You know, for as woke as video games are these days, TV and movies
I don't. Okay, this is okay. It's gonna be one. It's gonna be one of these conversations. Okay, okay. I'm down. Let's do this.
blow the gaming industry out of the water. Basically, every streaming show I've tried to watch with my mother has had some form of propaganda in it, and usually multiple types, whether it's race-related, gender-related, LGBT-related, it's usually all of the above. But anyway, getting back to Fallout. The rich guy who's hosting the birthday party calls Walton Goggins a communist because he won't stick his thumb up in reference to the supposed safe distance from a nuclear bomb, implying that Walton Goggins opposes the war with China. Nothing.
I wouldn't say it implies that. I think it would imply that Walter Goggins is super uncomfortable making a political statement at a children's birthday party. Right? He's a famous guy who, as we learned later in the show, is kind of famous for the thumbs up in the world of Fallout. So, in a time of very heightened political, um, very heightened like political aggregation in the world, he doesn't want to make a political statement at a children's birthday. Wouldn't that be good? Good. I thought you didn't like when people shoved politics into like everything. You were just talking about like how interracial relationships are propaganda. You don't think at like a time of heightened like fear of a nuclear strike that the poster boy of the apocalypse doing everything's gonna be a-okay is like, you don't think that would be like inappropriate? Because if I'm at a kid's birthday party, I haven't been to a kid's birthday party in a long time, because of the liberals. But if I had a kid's birthday party, and like one of the performers there was just like wearing a MAGA hat, or like, I don't know, just started talking about how like great Biden was, like that'd be a little weird, right? Just apropos of nothing, right?
Nothing really comes of this. This whole scene is obviously supposed to give you an idea what the retro future culture of 2077 looks like. But if a modern Marxist rewrote history and added diversity everywhere. Now, it's not like
I don't understand. What does Marxism and diversity have to do with one another? Because, like, it's 2077. There's multiple races living. Do you just want all white people? Because that sounds weirder. Like, could you imagine, like, only white people survived the apocalypse? Like, what do you think happened to everyone else? I mean, I don't know about you, but as a white dude myself, I probably won't last live being out in the sun for longer than 20 minutes.
Like in the original Fallout
Jesus, that's what you look like? Don't be mean. Don't be mean.
games, all the characters were white, but
I don't know if that's true or not. It seems like a really... That guy's white? Really? That guy's white? I mean, I guess. Doesn't... I mean, he's darker than you. He's darker than me. I mean, maybe he is white. Maybe he isn't. Seems like a... Again, it's 4 minutes in, and he's just exclusively talking about, like, the racial dynamics of, like, a sci-fi universe. Instead of just, like, talking about what doesn't work. He's just talking about, like, skin color. God, I feel bad for your dog. A white dog. Huh. You bought a white dog. I wonder why.
there's something uncanny about this whole thing. We'll put it
Black people are uncanny. Yep. There you go.
that. I'm not gonna make
Wouldn't it be uncanny if, like, there was only one specific ethnic group that survived the apocalypse? That'd be uncanny, right? I'm like, why are all the... Like, the bombs drop and only the Irish survive? Like, that's a little odd, right? That would be weird. Everyone has, like, a Scottish accent. I'm like, oh, no. I can't do a Scottish accent.
a huge deal over it. So
It's the only thing you've talked about so far, so you must think it's a big deal.
anyway, shortly after the first nuke drops on LA, the rich guy punches his black friend. Not
Why do you call him the black friend instead of just his friend? Why do you only use, like... Because you don't call him the white guy. You call the rich guy. Right? You don't say the rich guy punches his friend. You don't say the white guy punches his friend. You say the rich guy punches the black guy. Is it because you think white people are, like, like, I don't know. It's just your choice of words are, like, really interesting, and I'm starting to see a pattern in, like, where your arguments are coming from and, like, where your key points of, like, criticisms are, like, levied at. And I'm not gonna say this scene is perfect, because it's not, but, like, it does its job well enough. It's established the setting, it establishes, like, a good anchor character in Cooper, as, like, the world around him falls apart, and you see the chaos of, you know, families together for a birthday party, everyone's friends, and then, you know, end of the world happens and humanity just out the window. And it does it relatively quickly, without much dialogue, and I feel like 95% of people who watch this scene understand exactly what's happening. But there's no exposition dump to explain to, you know, dipshits on the internet. And they don't really have, like, I guess, media literacy to understand what's happening and why it's happening. He just seems very confused.
not letting him in
like,
their
a lot of things.
fallout shelter, and Walton Goggins rides off on a horse with his daughter on the back, as if you could fucking outrun a nuke. They
Yeah,
literally
I'm pretty sure he knows that. I'm pretty sure he knows that. But like at the same time, like okay, Fallout New Vegas is my personal favorite game of the series. So like if you're gonna tell me that being able to ride a horse to escape a nuclear explosion is stupid, then I'm sorry. I don't know if you like this series as much as I do, because I don't know, being able to like be a cowboy and like ride a horse to escape a nuclear bomb sounds pretty cool. I like it. I like the idea. I don't care if it's not realistic. It's fucking fantasy. It's, gaining enough, getting enough radiation infused in you and becoming a zombie that has, I don't know, like immortality is also unrealistic. But guess what? Fallout's got that. It's, you know,
Literally just told us in the previous scene the safe distance is the
yeah, it's almost like when a person is faced with their death, they'll try anything they can to survive, even if their chances of survival are minimum. People are willing to turn on each other, like you just noticed with the rich friend hitting his other friend, that your people are willing to throw away relationships at the at the minimum chance of surviving. I don't think anyone in this situation is acting on logic. I think they're acting on pure emotion. And Cooper's first response to seeing that is to try to get his daughter away, as far away as he can. And I think that's a very telling character trait for him. And it's a very good visual. Is it the most realistic thing? No, but you know what? Realism is the death of art.
size of a thumb. I think that explosion might be a little bit bigger than that.
See, I don't really like this, like, snide. Because, like, there's. The scene is clearly trying to explain to the audience what it's trying to do. It's supposed to make you feel. I don't. I gotta try to be nice. Try to be nice. Be nice to the racist. Be nice to the racist. The scene is supposed to be hopeless. It's a nuclear bomb. No one survives a nuclear bomb. It's the. Right? But, like, you're gonna try. He's gonna try to save his daughter. It's supposed to be a hopeless scene. It's the end of the world. Every scene in every post-apocalyptic movie is hopeless. That's the point. But characters who thrive in the wasteland are survivors. People who try despite the hopelessness. It's like he doesn't understand the genre he's talking about.
I know they did this to have a really dramatic scene, but it just comes across incredibly idiotic.
It doesn't come off as idiotic. You're just not smart enough to understand what's happening. See, that's what I don't like about this guy. He's stupid, but he's at that level of stupidity that he thinks he's smart, and that just infuriates me. Like, he doesn't know a goddamn thing what he's talking about. He sounds like a dude giving a book report on a book he's never read. And I know that sounds like a meme, right? You know, everyone's had that experience. But this feels like a first round, like, script draft. I hope he wrote a script. You know, honestly, I hope he didn't write a script. I hope this is off the cuff. Like, he's just, like, talking off the cuff. Because if he wrote this shit, I'd feel bad. I'd feel embarrassed.
Especially since 3 more nukes dropped, one which is within a mile of the house. Whatever, so anyway, moving on.
I feel like that's more than a mile. But that's nitpicky.
We fast forward to the present, and I want to point out, this takes place after all of the games. And more
Yes, that's how the timeline works. That is correct. I'd rather have like an original story than like a straight adaptation of one of the games. Because I've played the games. I want a good story. You know? Like, if I wanted to experience the story of the games, I just play the games. I mean, there's a lot of lore issues with the show. I'll give you that. But like, I don't know. Complaining about like the stories take place after the games is a weird complaint to have, in my opinion.
Importantly, 15 years after Fallout New Vegas. You're gonna want to remember that, considering this takes place on the West Coast. So now we meet our true protagonist, Lucy, a resident of Vault 33, which I guess was another control vault. Either that or it's some kind of multi-vault experiment. As they fail to adequately...
Are you just reading the Wikipedia? Is that like... Because that seems like a very specific way to describe that, like, her situation. Are you just, like, reading, like, a synopsis? Like, snidely? It's a little, some low-effort shit happening right now.
Explain in the show, Vault 31, 32, and 33 are all directly connected to each other. And so Lucy is applying for an arranged marriage with one of the other vaults. They show off all of her various skills. And of course, she just so happens to be good at basically everything. Definitely not a Mary.
She's, okay, she's shown to be good at repair, science, guns, and melee. And maybe unarmed, depending on your definition of acrobatics. I would just assume that she just has her highest stat is agility. But like, that's what, 4, 5 skills? Out of what, how many skills are in Fallout? Like 10, 15? So, it's not everything. She's just put her skill points in those stats. Like, as a character, that's fine. Right? I wouldn't call that a Mary Sue. This is just the character. She's just a competent character. But it's a woman. It's a woman who's a competent character. So his first instinct is to just call her a Mary Sue. I really don't like this guy so far. I've listened to him for 5 minutes, and I'm just getting lots of bad vibes from him. I can't fully explain it, but he seems like every dipshit I've ever run into in, like, a comic store. You know, he's the type of guy who, like, gets really upset. He seems like the type of guy who got, like, really upset over the Captain Marvel movies. Right? Like, they weren't good movies, but you're putting a lot of effort in, like, things you don't like, bro.
Mary Sue, guys. And of course, she gets approved. We find out her father is the overseer. Her younger brother is this tiny, huge-nosed, cowardly, incompetent beta.
You better shut your goddamn mouth about my boy right there. The dude who finished the main quest. How dare you? High stealth, high intelligence, high perception. That's my boy right there. I don't care what anyone says. Best character. 4th main character. He's audience surrogate right there.
Beta male, and also that Lucy fooled
Beta male. I've seen what you look like, bro. You shouldn't make fun of anyone's appearance.
Around with her cousin.
Messing around with your cousin, it's all well and good for kids, but it's not a sustainable long-term sexual practice, you know?
Who, despite being a tall, kind of more Chad-looking dude, is also a complete coward, worthless pussy. Get used to—
Yeah, it's almost like everyone who was born inside the vault has been, like, bred to be submissive and docile and non-violent and easily controlled by, let's say, a section of the populace who wasn't born in the vault. I wonder if, like, all of this was purposeful. I wonder. I wonder if, like, the characterization of all the side characters are supposed to tell the audience that a specific component of how this world works. I wonder if that's what they're trying to do. Also, dude, again, Beta, have you seen yourself? Really?
To hearing that. And so the members of Vault 33 meet up with the members of Vault 32, and we find out her soon-to-be husband is actually a white guy and not...
Okay, that's... Is this the one thing he likes about this show? Is that, like, her husband was a white guy? Really?
Not ugly. Shocking. But don't worry, they ruined that pretty shortly.
Yes, they ruined the purely white relationship. God, dude, I'm only watching this for 6 minutes. And this is like the 4th time he's brought up race? Really? Okay.
The wedding, Lucy asks her new husband Monty what his sperm count is. You know, I think I'm actually starting to like this girl. And even more based...
Why? Do you ask dudes what their sperm count are before you have sex with them? Do you see yourself in Lucy? Do you see Monty in yourself? I'm learning a lot about you.
As soon as they get back to her room, Monty strips naked and they just straight up have sex. So I guess one good thing came out of this show.
So yeah, the only thing he likes about this show is watching white people have sex. That's an opinion. I mean, I wouldn't take your opinion on, like, media. I wouldn't, it's 2024. If you want to, like, watch a show because of, white people, that's fine. Oh, it's a little odd, but okay. You seem like really harping on the racial dynamics of the Vault, and not gonna lie to you, a little weird.
But of course, everything goes to shit as the big schnoz little brother soon discovers one of the members of Vault 30.
See, I don't get why you're insulting his appearance. Like, you can just say, like, and I'm sure they got this actor because he's small. He doesn't really look like the whole, I guess, the corn-fed, white bread, Midwestern dude that Synthetic Man's into these days. But, like, I don't know. Is the nose supposed to imply that you think he's Jewish? Is that what this is about? Do you just think he's a Jew? Really? Are you gonna go back? Are you gonna call him shiftless soon? You're gonna call him shiftless.
32 is dead and rotting. And it turns out raiders somehow got into Vault 32, killed everyone, and Lucy gets stabbed, but she manages to save herself.
I wonder if that's a mystery. I wonder if, like, how they got into the vault is set up to be a mystery for the rest of the season. I wonder if they're going to, like, explain what's happening. But, like, instead of asking yourself, like, I wonder how they did that, you're just dismissively, they did it for some reason. So stupid. Like, dude, I don't understand, like, what your problem is so far. Your style of criticism is just explaining what's happening in a scene in, like, a snide voice, claiming it doesn't make any sense because, it's a mystery. They're not gonna tell you everything in the first episode of a season because that's not how stories work. And you're not curious about why it's happening. You're not curious about how it happened. You're just like I've listened to a lot of criticism about this show, right? No one I've ever listened to, like, I know a lot of people who don't like this show for a lot of reasons, and you know I have problems with it myself. But like, the problems you have with it aren't exactly problems with the show. I think they're just you. I feel like it's a skill issue. I think it's you. You're the problem here.
In the most cliche Hollywood way possible by smashing a glass on his head and then like
Really? Because as a dude who's seen like thousands of movies, most movies that end up with like a rapist attacking a woman just ends up with the woman dead. That's how most of these scenes usually end. The subversion is like Lucy surviving. But like as established, she's competent. She's not experienced with the world, but she does know what she's doing. It's just her mentality that's doesn't benefit. She's naive, she's young, she doesn't want to kill anyone. But like, what did you want to happen? What's not cliche about this? What's cliche? Like, what wouldn't be cliche about this? Like Monty killing her? Did you want Lucy to die? Did you want like someone to show up and save her? Because I think a character who saves themselves, male or female, is better than a character who needs someone to help them. You know, she's being proactive. I like proactive characters, regardless of gender, who like act on themselves instead of waiting for others to act for them. I think that makes them a stronger character. So, like, I don't get the argument of, like, it's cliche that she saved herself. Did you want other people to save her? Okay.
like slicing his face. She heals herself with a stim pack and then heads into the armory and grabs a fucking trank gun. I guess all the real guns were already gone. And
yeah, the raiders stole them all. Yeah. Yes, they stole them all. That's what they've been using. Or it could be to showcase that Lucy isn't super comfortable with taking a life like everyone else in the vault because that's how she was raised. You know, do unto others as you would want them done unto you. So yeah, taking the trank gun would be, I don't know, that upbringing coming back to bite her. I mean, each character's actions explain to you what a character does and what they think. You know, each moment characterizes Lucy further. And so far, we got someone who wants to do good by her community and family. Someone who is, while skilled, ultimately a gentle person. She's a good person. So even when trying to defend herself in her home, the idea of taking a life goes against everything she was been taught from that point. So she doesn't want to do it. Now, like, as the story goes on and like the desire of like survival pops up more and more, that those morals are going to degrade. And I think that's kind of the point of Lucy's character as she like learns the truth about like the harshness of the world. She'll come to terms with like needing to kill to survive. But like, again, this is the first. They have to have a beginning point for that arc to make sense. If she's willing to kill people this soon, like, there's no character arc, there's no character drama. You just want the character to be stagnant. And like, you want the character to be worse. Because, I don't know, you're not smart enough to read between the lines, I guess? Right? Is that what's happening?
She witnesses a bunch of her friends get horrifically murdered, men just getting the absolute shit beat out of them.
Everyone's getting the absolute shit kicked out of them. You just showed a video, you just showed a scene where a woman gets gunned down alongside a guy. It seems really weird that you're just, like, hammering on violence against men when, like, men and women are equally getting fucked up. Like, are you okay? Are you fine? Did someone hurt you? Do you want to talk about it? Because you seem like really harping on, like, shit that shouldn't matter when discussing your problems with a show. You know what I mean? Like, it's annoying when people, like, bring in their own politics to, like, justify or decry, like, a piece of media. And I get that, but, like, this is all you're doing. You're 7 minutes in. And, like, nothing of value has been said. I'm feeling a bit concerned here.
The only competent males at all are the raiders, but her pregnant best friend, after getting stabbed in the eye with a fork, gets a hold of an SMG and starts mowing down raiders.
I wonder why she's so different from all the other docile, easily led, frightened vault dwellers. I wonder if the show is trying to empathize. Is that the right word? Probably not. Emphasize. That's the word. Emphasize why she's so easily able to commit violence. I wonder if this is the beginning of, like, a theme going on. Right?
Wow. My god, it's Wolfenstein 2 all over again. This is the cringiest shit ever, seeing
Really? That's the cringiest shit ever? Because, like, if I saw a movie, if there was a movie where, like, a pregnant woman was forced to, like, murder people, that's honestly one of the most brutal things you can think of, right? I forget the movie it was. But when I was a kid, I saw this old, like, Italian horror movie where, like, this pregnant woman who was about to give birth is, like, forced to, like, strangle a Nazi to death. And it's bloody, it's depressing, it's fucking brutal. Like, it doesn't... The fact that pregnancy is linked to this, like, nurturing, like, gentle, like, femininity, juxtaposed with, like, the brutal violence of the scene is... I'm pretty sure that was the point. Right? She was established to be, like, you know, Lucy's best friend. Oh, we're gonna raise our kids together. It's gonna be great. No, she's psychotic. She's a one-eyed, like... She's like the one-eyed, what the fuck is her name from, Kill Bill Volume 2? Yeah, the one-eyed assassin. Right? That's not good. I'm gonna cut that shit. I cringe. See, like, that's not cringe to me. It doesn't come off as, like, trying too hard. It's doing it to make a point.
pregnant women be badass. I fucking...
It's not about pregnant women being badass. It's the juxtaposition between pregnancy, the giving of life, and the taking of life. I don't want to sound, like, super autistic right now, but yeah, I'm pretty sure the point is... I'm pretty sure that's the point, right? It's not about pregnant women are badass. It's, you know, a pregnant woman who's supposed to be protected is taking the protection into her own hands because, unlike everyone else, she was raised, like, not in a vault.
hate this propaganda is so transparent.
What's propaganda about a pregnant woman defending herself? Are you saying pregnant women should be considered weak? Pregnant women should be protected? Do you think pregnant women should should just, like, not defend themselves. Because, listen, I hate to be that guy, but in a wasteland scenario where, like, society has fallen and, like, you have to, like, do a lot of fucked up things in order to survive, like a nuclear holocaust, it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, if you're pregnant, if you're, like, disabled, if you have that ability, if you want to survive, you're going to have to struggle for it. And struggling in this situation involves putting a 9 to someone's ass. I don't see, this guy gets very, like, I guess he gets like really hampered down on just, like, how he can describe a character, and if that, like, if how, like, pregnant, black, women, whatever, like, big nose, non-Chad like. So if you meet any of those qualifiers, you should just be dead. You should just let the white raiders do whatever they want to you, or hopefully a man can save you. But if they can't save you, you're just better off dead, because you shouldn't be able to defend yourself. That's really weird, right? Like isn't it instinct of a mother to, like, do whatever it takes to save their child? Like, isn't that a good thing to empathize with? She's willing to kill to save her unborn child. That's a good thing. That's a good mentality to, like, have. And you don't want that. It's kind of... Listen, I want every pregnant woman in the world to be ready, willing, and able to slit the throat of any man who wants to do her harm. I don't really have a strong, like, code of ethics, like, not written down, but I think every woman should be allowed to just rip the throat out of any man who wishes her harm. And in that situation, some drug-fueled dipshit broke into her house, killed her husband, stabbed her in the eye, and she has a gun. Of course she's gonna fucking shoot him. Like, at this point, you gotta be wondering what's the difference between her and everyone else who just took it. Which is what the scene is trying to imply. But again, this guy's not smart enough to understand that. But he's getting mad at him. He's getting mad at himself for not getting it. And that's whiny ass bullshit. It's pathetic.
Whatever, moving on.
Moving on. Didn't really say anything of value, but moving on.
Lucy's husband turns out to still be alive and almost kills her, but her dad...
So it wasn't cliche then, right? This is the subversion. So what? It wasn't a cliche. She didn't kill him.
manages to save her, being the only competent male in the show, and Lucy gets to see how brutal he is, which I'm pretty sure is implying that he's been to the surface before. But all of this...
You know, it's really weird. You almost got it there. The only people in the vault willing to commit violence are people who potentially have been to the surface before. Interesting. You're like 90% there. You're getting there. You're getting there. Good job.
Survivors manage to get captured anyway. We see that the Latina overseer is the...
I don't get why you keep bringing up her ethnicity. Right? You can just say a woman. You can just say the lead raider. Can only white dudes be raiders? That's a little racist. I believe any person, no matter their gender or creed or race, can be as efficient drug-fueled maniacs as any other race, gender, or creed. Besides, I'm pretty sure you think all Latin people are like. You seem like the type of guy who like be pro-wall, right? Like I'm sure I'm getting a lot of like red flags from like your opinions on like race and like interracial statistics and the fact that in the 6 minutes since you started actually talking about the show, you've brought up race like 8 times. I'm sure that has nothing to do with like your actual political opinions, like at all. I wouldn't dare to imply such a thing, but it's just really weird, man, that this is like the only thing you've said so far that like you seem to like care about. Like it's not the writing, it's not like the cinematography, it's not like specific acting. It's just that. Like I'm not. I don't want to like tell you you're wrong for caring about the things you care about, but Jesus Christ, dude, it's fucking boring. You're just saying the same thing over and over again, dude.
The real villain of the show. Yes, this middle-aged brown woman is supposed to be this mega badass evil raider we're supposed to be intimidated.
Okay? You just said the middle-aged white guy is the only competent dude in the show so far, so how is this any weirder? Right?
By modern media is such a joke. We're not
Okay. I'm not. You know what? Let's just continue.
even halfway through the episode, and I already don't want to watch anymore. But
Then don't watch it, dude. Life is too short to like watch a show with too many black people, I guess. You should watch, I don't know, Bonanza. The only brown people in that show were in brown face anyway. Oh no, Bonanza's like objectively anti-slavery. Ugh. You probably wouldn't like that. Oh, Andy Griffith? No, Andy Griffith's like is like nice to people. I don't know. You know what? Watch an anime. You can pretend they're white.
fuck it, let's just get through this. Evil raider chick gives the overseer an ultimatum. Either choose his daughter Lucy or choose the rest of the residents of the vault. Obviously he chooses his daughter, but instead of killing all the others, the raiders just kidnap the dad and then just let the others run away as a bomb timer goes off. Oh, and Raider bitch reveals that she knows Lucy's mom. Wow, what a mystery, I'm so intrigued. What the fuck was the point of this scene? Alright, now we get to meet...
So the point of the scene was to establish that A, Lucy, despite never leaving the vault, is known by... Okay. The point of the scene is to imply that A, Hank, who was a very nurturing, loving, kind father who instilled the values of being a good person and non-violence to Lucy since the day she was born, has the capacity to kill. The implication being he's been out of the vault before. It's also establishing that he and the Raider know each other beforehand. Or they at least have a history, or an implied history. C, it's also to establish that Lucy, despite never leaving the vault in her entire life, is a part of that shared relationship the Raider and her previously unviolent father seemed to have. It's also maybe implying that the Raider isn't necessarily evil, because what I know about Raiders from Fallout is they don't leave survivors. And there were scenes beforehand that distinguish between the Raiders and a more closer knit, well trained portion of the Raiders that seem to follow the leader with whatever plan she's going for. So the show is setting up a bunch of different layers to like already established relationships that the scene that the last 20 minutes have kind of like put into place. It's also, you know, giving motivation for Lucy to get out there and find her paw, like, you know, half of the Fallout games have been. Right? It's not groundbreaking, but it's easy enough to understand if you like think about it. Like, this guy's just so fucking stupid. I don't get it.
Our final main character, Maximus. And it's another pussy-ass black guy.
What other pussy-ass black guy has been in this show? Are you just saying that in general? That he's a pussy-ass black guy? Okay, listen. This scene, I actually really like this scene and Maximus's portrayal in it, because he's getting fucking jumped by like 6 or 7 dudes. And instead of just laying down and taking it, he's standing up and throwing punches back. He's fighting back against the odds. Listen, I don't like to use the term like pussy or beta or bitch when a dude is like getting the shit kicked out of him by like half a dozen people at the same time. But it's good characterization. You're not a pussy ass bitch because you can't because the number games is like too overwhelming for you. Like what a fucking beta ass bitch. Can you believe this guy? What a bitch. He got his ass kicked by 8 dudes. And wait, he just lay down and took it? Nah, he threw some punches, busted someone's noses, but you know, it was 8-on-1. What a bitch. Like, fuck you, you fucking dip. Fucking loser.
You know, it's one thing that every single TV show, movie, and now video game has a diverse cast, but do you have to have...
Is it one thing to have a diverse cast? Is it? Is it the thing that you've always been complaining about the past 9 minutes? That's the only thing you've talked about. It's the only thing you seem to have a problem with this show, is the diverse cast. Right? Isn't that your whole thing so far?
Have every black man be a fucking pussy? And
what other black guy have they shown in this show to be a pussy? What?
Modern media, you know, as harsh as I was on Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, at least Barrett is...
Oh, he doesn't like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I wonder why.
...is a cool character, okay?
Oh, Barrett's one of the good ones.
You can sell me on a diverse character.
Yeah, Synthetic Man likes his black guys big and loud and strong. He likes it. He's got a type. He's got a type.
If they're cool, if they just act like a person, but they happen to have a different color of skin, you know, I know this is very stereotypical shit that basically everyone said by now, but it's true. It doesn't matter how many times it's said. It's accurate. And yeah, so he gets hazed by all the other Brotherhood of Steel initiates, and he gets saved by a trans man.
I don't think they've ever established that character is trans in show. Like, they might be trans. They could be a tomboy. They could be... like, the Brotherhood of Steel is, like, really weird when it comes to, like, gender and sexuality. So I could easily believe that the Brotherhood of Steel just, I don't know, forces them to be raised like boys. I could buy that shit. And if they're trans, who gives a shit? They don't establish that they're trans. I mean, if anything, this should be the representation that you like, because it's not in your face about it. It's just a character being a character, and that character happens to be trans. You're not upset about the character. You're just upset that they're trans. Right? Because they don't establish... There's no scene where, like, that character's like, you know, you were the only one who helped me or wanted to be my friend when I was first transitioning, and, you know, we're bros because of that. No, it's just a potentially trans person, maybe not even trans, could be a gender neutral, could be anything, just existing, and you like you're putting more emphasis on their like gender than the show ever did, and you're getting mad about it. Jesus.
Not joking, dude. This probably.
You're not joking, dude? Really? Trans people exist? Jeez. You know, when I was playing Fallout and I was like hanging out with like when I was killing super mutants and like centaurs and hanging out with like Mexican ghouls and like I was thinking, you know what? Good thing this series like is like realistic, you know? But like a trans person like just existing? The hell you mean?
Probably gonna be some coping and seething, but no.
Dude, this is the most like cope shit I've ever heard in my life. This is you're literally doing the thing. You're already the seething one. You're just mad at things happening. Like, explain the problem with it instead of just saying that it's bad. Like, you can say, like, it doesn't make sense for a trans person to exist because, like, resource management or something. That would be an argument. I would think it's a stupid argument, but it's an argument. But instead, you're just saying, they're trans, so it's bad. Like, put some fucking effort in being a bigot at the very least. Jesus.
No, that is not a tomboy. That is not a masculine female. No, that is a woman who identifies as a man. You know it to be true. And
see, yeah, this is just you projecting. You're projecting your own insecurities onto a character. Like, the show doesn't imply anything. It just states that this character is what it is. Whatever their gender identity is. They could be trans, they could be a boy, they could be a girl, they could be anything. You're the one injecting your own, like, biases into it. Like, if there was a scene where, like, it's, like, 5 minutes of them, like, explaining their pronouns, I can understand why that would be, like, kind of weird and, like, doesn't really play well to the rest of, like, the show's pacing. But they don't do that. It's just the trans person. Maybe not even a trans person, but it's just a person that your own biases are making you negatively look at because you already don't like trans people to begin with.
she's more of a man than Maximus is. This is fucking embarrassing. Whatever. Anyway, moving on.
That's a really, like, dude, not only is that joke really bad, but, like, the fake laugh after your own bad joke is just narcissistic. I'm like, dude, I feel like I could do this guy's shtick like 100 times better. Right? I think I could.
To get through this, guys. I can't take.
Like, I can't take this no more. This woke bullshit propaganda that fucking Amazon, is pushing down our throats. God damn.
It anymore. Everything I love has been destroyed. Let's just fast forward.
Yeah, you can clearly tell by the emotion in his voice that he really loves Fallout. Because, like, instead of, like, discussing about, like, his problems with how, like, something's perceived or how something was written or how, you know, any of that, he's talking about trans people. There's no trans people in Fallout. There's no gay people in Fallout. What? What are you talking about? There's no there's no non-white people in any of the Fallout games. Did you know that? I'm a real Fallout fan. And, like, everyone knows that there's no gay shit. Like, only white people survive the apocalypse, as it should. Right? Everyone knows that. Only real Fallout fans know that. If you don't know that, you're not a real Fallout fan like me.
Forward through the rest of this episode. Okay, so another Pridwin shows up. Maybe it's the same Pridwin from Fallout 4. I don't know. They don't confirm or deny in this.
Why would they need to confirm or deny it? Do you need, like, a full explanation, like you need a 20 minutes of lore to fully like get you invested, instead of just like experiencing each scene one at a time. Like, if my brain worked like yours, I'd kill myself. Like, you're so stupid. You're generally dumb.
This episode, we see some Brotherhood Knights in T60 power armor.
That's a good prop. I like the full body, like, kinda cosplay-esque they're going for. It's not like super rich. I like it. I like how it looks way better than like the Halo show, right?
Show up, and I don't know, it looks okay. I know some people are like, it looks like shitty cosplay.
Dude, okay, first off, shut the fuck up. So like an actual craftsman made this shit. I appreciate any media nowadays where like the suits and the props actually exist and they're not CG. Like, I don't like this like wishy-washy. It doesn't look great. Like, dude, shut the fuck up. It's a prop people wear, and it's good. I like it. It's actually there on screen, and I like that about it. Like, it's weirdos like this that like why everything's CG now. Because, if I see a real prop, I'm taken out of the experience. Shut the fuck up.
I think the costumes look okay. It's when there's CGI that it looks bad. In the next scene, Maximus and the girl boy sneak away and look at some...
Just call them by their name, dude. Is it that hard?
power armor, and Maximus is a flashback to when he was saved by the Brotherhood of Steel. Then we see the Initiates play some brick ball. Look, I know they're trying to be cute about, like, oh, post-apocalypse, they don't understand how sports work, but really throwing bricks into a fucking square hoop? And we learn some of the Initiates have been chosen to be squires, and of course Maximus doesn't get chosen, but the girl boy does. And so the next morning, as G.I. Jane puts on her boots, a trap placed in...
Wait, are they G.I. Jane or are they a girl boy? Because G.I. Jane's a girl. Just call her call them G.I. Jane then. You've already established that they could be either or. You don't know. The show doesn't tell you. Right? I feel like I'm just harping on, like, this guy being a dipshit because that's all he talks about. Or, like, id pol and, like, social, like, his issues with, like, modern social issues instead of reviewing a fucking TV show. Like, he's not talking about, like, anything of value. He's not talking about, like, his actual opinions on why the show doesn't work. He's not complaining about the writing. He's not complaining about, like, the pacing. He's not complaining about the overarching story. He's not complaining about anything except, oh, black people being a bitch. Oh, beta. Oh, interracial marriage statistics. Oh, the brown lady's the bad guy. Oh, it's a lady boy. Oh, like, dude, put some fucking effort in your criticisms or shut the fuck up. Like, it's not that hard. It's not that hard to, like, watch this show and have, like, and formulate a couple of ideas about what it could do, what it doesn't do good, and what it could do better. Like, you could easily do that. I could probably make this video so much better than you. It's not even a joke. But all you talk about are, like, weird id-pol shit. Because that's all you care about. Because, you know, you're, not smart enough to think of a reason. You're not smart enough to form opinions beyond what you were raised on. For reasons.
Inside her boot shreds her leg. And to no surprise, Maximus is blamed for this and taken away to be interrogated.
See, I really like this aspect of about Maximus's character. Because, honestly, I could see him doing it. what is shown to me, Maximus to this point is a guy who desperately wants to achieve something and who's willing to do whatever it takes to do it. He can be jealous, he can be petty, he's sick and tired of being like the punching bag of all the other recruits. He's like on latrine duty nonstop. His best friend gets promoted before him, the promotion he wants so bad. I could see, honestly, I think they belittle his character by just declaring that he didn't do it later on in the series. Personally, I think that's the best. I think his neutral karma, and he can go either way in the good path or the bad path, is like the best part about his character.
Back at Vault 33, Lucy tries to get the council to send out a search party for her dad, but the fat black soy jack on the council is too chicken shit, as is the rest of them. And so Lucy...
Yeah, I wonder why all the vault dwellers born in the vault are so adverse to violence. It's interesting. I wonder what the show's trying to tell you.
Lucy teams up with Big Schnoz in Sweet Home Alabama to leave the vault themselves. Of course, her brother, being a massive pussy, won't go with her. Her cousin actually wants to, but she knows he's incredibly incompetent and also a coward, so she tranks him and leaves the vault by herself. Now, this is where the show jumps the shark. We find out that...
I feel like you don't know what jump the shark means. Like, I feel like you don't get what jump the shark actually means, but it's like a term you've heard before, so you're just gonna throw it in here. So...
Vault 33 is located next to Venice Beach, in the heart of the Boneyard. Now, if you know anything about Fallout lore, you would know that the NCR dominated this territory, brought civilization back to it. There is no way in hell that Vault 33 was not contacted over the course of 100 years. And of course, to address the elephant in the room, LA itself is a massive wasteland, like a featureless desert. What happened to the NCR? Well, at the time of me...
Yeah, that's a good mystery. What happened to the NCR? I hope the whole season is like a build up to what happened to the NCR in the area. I hope that would be like the main story about what happened to the NCR is like this whole season building up to that. That would be interesting.
Recording this, I was spoiled of future episodes. And apparently Shady Sands got nuked 4 years before the events of Fallout New Vegas. Yeah, that's how you know the showrunners didn't do the research, and yet this show's canon. It's totally canon, guys, that the capital of the NCR got nuked before New Vegas. Yet it was never mentioned, and it's more than established that the NCR dominated California.
Okay, to be fair, the original Fallout 3, the NCR was supposed to be destroyed. What was it, Fallout Van Buren, or whatever the fuck that game was supposed to be called? Like, the original idea was the NCR to be, was destroyed. Because, you know, in the post-apocalypse, too much society ruins the fun. In Fallout, most of the fun involves, like, the fall of civilization. Too much society takes away from that. Now, am I okay with the NCR falling? No, I think it was I wouldn't have done that. I have my own personal problems with, like, the timeline changes or, you know, stuff like that. But, like, it is the first episode. Let the story unfold first, right? Because, like, you put a gun to my head, and, like, 1, 2, 3, go.
California and brought civilization back. Fuck this show. Fuck.
I mean, yeah, civilization in the post-apocalypse is overrated. This is just a personal beef for me. I hate the NCR. I think they're, you know, they're not the beacon of democracy they like to think they are, and there were a lot of internal problems as established in like New Vegas. So I'm not surprised they kind of sunk or like fell apart or whatever happens in the show. Maybe they moved up north. Maybe, I don't know what the real the borders of the republic are. People, it's all through California, but maybe they split apart. Maybe the Legion like came back and fucked them up in the Southwest. I don't know. You don't know. Just let the story be told first. Right? Because like if there was a Fallout series, if there was like a new Fallout game, and in the game you find out the NCR has fallen, is that bad? I don't know. Let me play the game first, and then I'll have an opinion of if the story is good or bad. But just because it's changed something that's existed in the series before doesn't make it bad necessarily. It's just different. And sometimes different is good. Sometimes you have to make a big event be impactful. And the NCR like falling is a huge impact on the world and like the world at large. And you have to just see what they're going for instead of just making this like weird knee-jerk opinion of, oh, the NCR is destroyed, that automatically makes this bad. It could be bad. You can't make that decision on the first episode. Just let the story take its place.
Fuck Todd Howard. Fuck Amazon. Bethesda is so beyond dead to me. It's
like, yeah, this is just whiny bullshit. This is just him being like really sensitive about like changes to established lore. But it's not even changes to established lore as much as this is just 20 years, 15 years after New Vegas. This is just what happened. Like, I remember New Vegas, like, the NCR has a lot of like issues, and they hand wave a lot of these issues by saying, "Oh, we just don't have like the resources to do all these problems because capitalism, because all the main NCR resources are like protecting the Brahmin barons in the north." But like, if it's because I don't know, their capital got nuked, and they're not as strong as they think they are. And they're not as strong as they want to like project because they're worried that like the Legion will smell weakness and just attack with everything they have and wipe them out. I can understand why they need the Hoover Dam that much more. Right? Like, that's something that could theoretically make sense. Like, the fact that Sandy Shores got bombed right after the first Hoover Dam war doesn't necessarily retroactively like eliminate every New Vegas from the timeline. It just recontextualizes things that people in New Vegas took for granted. Which, again, I'm not 100% sold on that change, but I'm willing to give the benefit of the doubt about, because theoretically the timeline makes sense if you view it like that. Like Sandy Shores gets nuked right before or right after the first war of the Hoover Dam, and they're trying to keep that a secret from everyone outside their borders, so the Legion doesn't hear about it and just full on overtake them as soon as they can. I mean, it's again, I wouldn't do it, but I can see why that decision was made as a story device. But this guy just seems like really like emotionally invested in something that in the grand scheme of things doesn't really matter, because I never play I never helped the NCR when I played New Vegas. I always took like Yes Man or Mr. House. Like, so I don't know. We're gonna have to just sit and wait for the rest of the seasons to go. If they're gonna like maybe change, yeah, we're gonna have to wait and see. But I don't. I'm against this whole like really emotionally driven like feelings mode of like argumentation that he's going for. He doesn't like it personally, so it's automatically bad. But he can't articulate why it's bad. He can't articulate why this is a problem. He's just like it's feelings. It's feelings over, it's feels over reals. And I'm sorry, facts don't care about your feelings, bro.
It's insane. Everyone who likes Fallout 4 gets exactly what they fucking deserve with this show.
I mean, Fallout 4 wasn't great, but like I don't like this this like weird gatekeeping mentality of, oh, you only play Fallout 4, you're not a real Fallout fan. That's fucking bullshit. Like, if you like Fallout, you like Fallout. I don't like this whole like you're not a real fan like me because I played one more game in the series than you. Like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like your like it's been 15 minutes so far, and the problems you've talked about aren't like lore based. It's race based. That's been your key issue so far. And yeah, the lore changes are weird, but it's a creative decision. That was the original intention for Fallout 3. Would you have gotten mad at Fallout 3 if like the NCR was destroyed when it was made by the same guys who made New Vegas and Fallout 1 and Fallout 2? Because that's what they wanted. Would you have gotten like this emotionally upset? Would you have? Because I wouldn't have.
Blows my mind is there's people who actually thought Starfield was going to be good.
I don't understand why you're bringing up Starfield now. We're talking about Fallout. Just talk about Fallout. I don't give a shit about Starfield. If I wanted to hear your opinion about Starfield, I would have watched one of your videos on Starfield. We're talking about Fallout. Just fucking talk about your problems with Fallout. I don't understand your habit of like using a bunch of weird buzzwords to like corral the people in your audience who like probably just like dumbly nod their heads about your dipshit opinions. So like, oh, that's bad because it reminds me of the other things that we think are bad. Like Starfield or like Rings of Power. Bethesda's pretty bad. I fucked Todd Howard. Yeah. Like, Jesus Christ, dude. Can we just talk about your, like, Fallout, please?
And even though the NCR capital was nuked, that doesn't explain how the Boneyard turned into a giant desert wasteland.
Yeah, it's almost like, let the show explain what happened. Instead of getting, like, your panties in a bunch over, let's be honest, bullshit that doesn't really matter. Right? It's bullshit that doesn't really matter. Just let the story tell itself.
But it's as simple as the showrunners didn't care.
See, here's the beauty of it. If the Bonelands actually mattered in like the grand scheme of things, he would have shown a scene from the games. Instead, he just showed a paragraph on the Wikipedia page. I do not think the Bonelands care that much. I don't think Fallout cares much about the Bonelands in and of itself. It wasn't in any of the games, I'm pretty sure. It's been a long time since I played 1 or 2. But they don't play a huge role. Right? Well, the NCR wasn't in the first one. So, the Bonelands weren't in 2. Right? I don't even know. I don't think this guy cares about Fallout. I think this is just another way that he can just like talk about his like shit politics and like use Fallout as like a shield from it, because I don't think he cares much about the lore. I don't think he cares much about like the story or the themes, because like he hasn't talked about any of that. Because like if he did, you know what? I'm gonna just let him go. Let him continue.
This is not made for the fans. This is made for normal.
It's an adaptation. If you like, this is still like this whole like gatekeeping thing is just out of it's getting ridiculous, dude. I don't think you're a real fan of Fallout. I'll go so far as to say you're not a fan. Like who's gonna correct me? You? You're not a real fan of Fallout. Why would I listen to you? You're just saying you're a fan of Fallout so you can like shield your dumbass opinions from like criticism. But I don't think you're a real fan of Fallout. I'll go that far and say it. I mean, if you can say people who like this show aren't real fans of Fallout, I can easily just say you're not a real fan of Fallout either. Right? It's just your opinion, man.
Normies who have heard of Fallout. It's made for women who won't even watch the show. And most importantly, it's made as a humiliation ritual. They will...
That's a bit of a stretch, right? Like, who's humiliated watching Fallout? You? Were you humiliated watching Fallout? That sounds like a you problem. Is your self-esteem like so low that like the second you see like black people and like white women like doing stuff, like do you feel humiliated? Are you okay? Are you gonna cry? Jesus Christ.
will destroy everything you love, and you will do nothing
More whiny ass bullshit.
about it. At best, you'll vote with your wallet and hope things get better. Yeah, that's worked out so great for us in the last decade. But whatever, I'm not gonna Fed post, because I will legitimately get banned. Next.
Oh, cool. He's one of those retards. Cool. Yeah, I could have figured that the second he pulled up the save the JPEG of interracial couples statistics he saves on his computer. But, you know, it's good to know I get confirmation about what kind of dipshit he is.
Scene, we get back to Maximus, and he cries like a little baby bitch as the scribe interrogates him, accusing him of something he didn't do, and he makes almost no effort to defend himself.
I mean, was it established he didn't do it? Because, like, I like the ambiguity of him. Maybe he did it, maybe he didn't. I took that from, like, he's, like, super emotional because this is his last chance. Right? Maybe it's the regret that he fucked his one friend up at this chance. Maybe it's the fact that he thinks he's about to get beaten to death by a dude in a giant, like, power armor. Who knows? I don't know how people would react at that. I wouldn't call someone a whiny bitch for, like, getting emotional about that. I feel like this is, like, weird projection on your part. Like, it's gotta be interesting that, like, I don't know if it says more about you than, you know, the character, to be completely honest.
Eventually, he works up the courage to speak and just says he would gladly give his life for the Brotherhood, and the scribe rewards him by promoting him to Squire, taking the She-Man's place.
Yeah, the She-Man. Okay, sure.
Then we get a scene where the She-Man doesn't blame him because she knows he would never do it, because, again, he's a little bitch boy who would never...
Yeah, I kind of like the ambiguity of, like, yeah, even my best friend doesn't think I'm capable of doing something like this. Like, he takes that as an insult. Because in their society, violence and survival are, like, hand in hand. He was picked on for being the weak link. He gets beat on his entire life. He gets, like, he gets like the worst responsibilities in the camp, and then your best friend tells you, "I think you're harmless," and like I view that as like Maximus taking that as like an insult. That's like further motivation for like his character arc. That's why he tries super hard. He willingly chooses violence every chance he gets. And that's an interesting character arc for a neutral character, right? For a character whose morals are kind of up in the air, to be like, huh, maybe I should like be like, come on, man, it's there's so much going on in this scene, and like he's ignoring it to just like, I don't know, insult the guy. And why is he insulting the guy? Because he's a quote unquote pussy beta bitch because he got jumped by 7 dudes. He's a pussy beta bitch for crying who when confronted by the guy who practically raised him with the ongoing with a threat of death. And like this guy's and like Maximus's motivations and like his morals are like really gray, and because they're kind of gray and non really defined, this synthetic man is using that as justification to, I don't know, like, it's because synthetic man isn't smart enough to like read ambiguity. I mean, he can't read between the lines, so like even something so like in your face about like Maximus's like internal conflict is like just invisible to synthetic man. I don't know if it's like there's just there's so much wrong going on right now. Like, I'm embarrassed.
Never do anything wrong. What a great protagonist. And at his anointment ceremony, he gets a brand burned on the back of his neck by power armor, which is kind of cool, I guess. And now we get another massive...
See, this is what I hate about this guy and like this type of review, because even when it's something that he likes, he won't talk about it. He refuses to talk about the shit he likes. He'll just like he just wants to like snidely talk about things that happen because he has no media literacy. Because like if you really like that scene, you can probably talk about it for a good for like 5 minutes about how this like adds to like the Brotherhood of Steel lore, and it adds to it kind of like recontextualizes, you know, their society and how they treat one another, and maybe you can, you know, showcase like how that talks how that speaks of like how you can view other Brotherhood of Steel characters differently. Did this happen to Veronica? Did this happen to Paladin Lion from 3? Like this, it could be numerous things, but but he just moves on to the next like talking point of just woke stuff. It's like this video's almost over, and I pray for that to happen.
retcon. Apparently the Enclave is still around. Yup, even though we see the last of their remnants in New Vegas, which are a bunch of fucking senile...
You see the rest of the West Coast Enclave in New Vegas. However, there's implications that there's an Enclave unit in Chicago. And it's established that in the next episode, which you probably won't mention because it's only the first episode you said he was gonna review, that Dogmeat and the scientists have been together for a long time. You know, there's a passage of time since they meet, when they leave. So they've been traveling for a good distance. They say nothing about the Enclave being in California, so I could theoretically give it that. You know, the Enclave is Fallout's one of Fallout's most famous factions. You know, like if the Enclave showed up in another game, I wouldn't like piss my pants over it. I wouldn't get upset about it. It'd be more interesting than another Brotherhood of Steel storyline. But whatever, it seems like a weird thing to get upset about.
Nile boomers.
Can
15.
you believe Superman calls himself the last son of Krypton when, like, they keep adding other Kryptonians into DC? Fucking retcon. It's not a retcon, dude. They're just adding. It's whatever.
15 years later, the Enclave is back with a vengeance. Maximus is tasked with finding one of their runaways who I guess is hanging with dog meat. And for the final scene of the episode, we wrap back around to Walton Goggins as we see a few mercenaries dig up his corpse. Oh god, here we go again. Pete Hines has been vindicated. For those of you who don't know, there is a unmarked quest in Fallout 4 where you find a ghoul child who's been locked in like a fridge or something. I can't even really remember. The child has been in there for 200 years with no food or water, and you reunite him with his parents who are also ghouls. It's quite possibly the dumbest quest in any RPG of all time.
It's not the dumbest quest in any RPG of all time. I doubt it's even the dumbest quest from Fallout 4. Because, like, at its core, this makes sense, like, thematically, because the main story of Fallout 4 is you're a parent trying to find your child, so it would make sense that you find a child and get him to his parents who, you know, you can kind of see where, like, thematically it makes sense. I remember this quest line. I guess I don't really have fond memories of Fallout 4. But I don't know. To call this quest line the worst part of Fallout 4 is it's just stupid. It's a dumb quest. Yeah, it's kind of goofy, but like it's the worst part of Fallout 4. No, the worst quest in like RPG in general? No. Worst quest line in Fallout 4? Absolutely not. Thematically, it makes sense.
And rightfully, fans pointed out how stupid it was, how it's been established in the original games that ghouls do eat and drink, and I believe even in Fallout 3 they have to eat and drink. But no, now ghouls...
I mean, do they? I guess. I don't know. I always figured ghouls could like sustain themselves off of radiation. Can't they heal themselves from radiation? I wouldn't necessarily call that a retcon. Not necessarily. Could it potentially be stupid? Maybe. I don't know.
are just immortal zombies, and Pete Hines, being a massive silly Billy on Twitter, pointed out how nerds are all losers for caring.
Again, it's like 10 years old, dude. Get over yourself. This tweet is from fucking 2015? Really? Okay. Sure.
Caring about continuity. You're right. Why should I care about anything that happens?
He's not complaining about. He's not even talking about continuity. He's talking about like realism in like a silly fantasy world, which is a completely different conversation. That tweet had nothing to do with continuity. It has stuff to do with people complaining about silly stuff in a world filled with silly stuff. Like, if you're going to make an argument, make that argument. Don't, like, post something as evidence for a completely different thing that you're talking about.
In the story, I should just consume your product, you piece of shit. But now, over 8 years...
He's so fucking sensitive. Jesus Christ, dude. Get over yourself. That tweet was from 10 years ago. Like, why are you so angry?
Years later, Bethesda still has a chip on their shoulder about that.
The Bethesda has the chip on their shoulder. Yeah, not you.
one and has confirmed in this show that ghouls can be buried underground in a coffin for who knows how long and be perfectly fine.
The show zooms in on an IV bag. Isn't that just Rataway? Maybe, like, I don't know. Apparently ghouls just need to have their, like, blood replaced, or maybe they just need radiation. I don't know. It could just be a good visual. Maybe it's supposed to be like, dude, I don't know. You don't even know. You don't know how he survived. You're just upset that he does. Let it be a mystery. Maybe it's, yeah, let it be a mystery. Argue about it. Come up with a theory how this is. It could be in any number of reasons. They don't really go into depth about, like, how ghouls function in any of the games strongly. But, like, yeah, fuck it. Who gives a shit?
And for seemingly no reason at all, Walton Goggins kills the three mercenaries. They weren't even hostile. They were offering to share a bounty with him. And
yeah, he's a bad karma character. He's like an inhuman ghoul who's long since stopped caring about human life. He's bad karma. I wouldn't go so far as to call him an evil character, but, like, his morals are completely alien to what he used to be. He's clearly a Western character. Like, this is cowboy movie, like, tropes 101, right? Like, the merciless bounty hunter with, like, without a care in the world, doesn't even go by his real name anymore, only his alias. You know, he's Django. He's the man without name. He doesn't have a concrete moral system anymore. It's not even, like, okay. Hold on. The real reason is they insulted him by mentioning California and then completely reasonably threatened to put him... Yeah. So they insult him, then threaten to put him back in it... Put him back in his coffin. Why wouldn't he kill them? Listen, if I'm a dude who doesn't give a shit about, like, human life, and a bunch of no-names show up, make fun of me, and then threaten me, if I have the same morals as the ghoul, yeah, I'd put a bullet in him. Because it's the wasteland. Who gives a shit? The wasteland, if your only emphasis is to survive, if that's the only thing you care about, yeah, you're going to put anyone in the dirt that you have to in order to move forward. And if they're going to stop you, or if they're going to, like, threaten you, yeah, he's the type of guy who's going to put a bullet in between anyone's eyes the moment they look at him bad. That's the type of character he is. That's, like, the stock Western character he is. You can watch... I've watched hundreds of Western movies. I've seen hundreds of black hat cowboys do the exact same thing as the ghoul does. Like, I feel like you don't know much about how, like, the genre works. And you're getting upset that you don't know how the genre works. But, like... And you're using that, like, your confusion about how the genre works to justify your really weird, like, political opinions about why this show doesn't work. It's, a little odd. Like, I feel like your main problem is you just don't understand, like, context clues. Like, you just need people to explain shit to you. You know what? I'll watch the show with you. Every time you have a question about why things work, or, like, why a character does a thing that they do, turn to me. I'll explain it to you. We'll get through this together.
kills them. This show is fucking stupid. Okay, that was
I'm pretty sure you're just dumb. I'm pretty sure you're just stupid.
Episode 1, it sucked dick, it ruined everything, Fallout's dead again. Honestly, Fallout's been dead to me since Fallout 4 released, and to even more fans after 76.
So Fallout's dead since. So has Fallout been dead since Fallout 4 or Fallout 76? Which has it been dead since like New Vegas was over? Has it been dead since Fallout 3? Because that's what I hear about like people who don't really like Fallout. They play like one or two games, but whenever time a new game comes out, they complain about how it's different from the game that they like, and so Fallout's dead. And like, I mean, that's an opinion, I guess. See, like this is what I hate about this, because like this dipshit is getting me to defend Todd Howard and like Bethesda, and I refuse to defend them. But this guy's opinions are like so dumb. I'm forced to like, Todd Howard isn't like the devil. I know Bethesda's bad, but it's not that bad, because this guy's like blamed them for like interracial like relationships and like being pro like interracial couples, and like complaining about like brown people and black people and queer people. It's like if this guy had like more concrete like opinions on stuff instead of just saying a bunch of buzzwords, I could probably agree with a lot more from what he's saying about like the show's problems. But like every fucking minute, it's just him complaining about a group of people he doesn't like, and it has nothing to do with Fallout. And every other minute, it's just complaining about like things that have nothing to do with Fallout, but like tying it together because it's all woke or something. It's it's fucking embarrassing.
So while yes, I did get kind of angry over certain things in this show,
Kind of angry over certain things. That's a really it's a really nice way of putting it.
Sometimes
I would say you had an autistic meltdown over like black people. But that's I mean that's getting kind of angry at certain things is an accurate way to describe this video.
I ham things up for the review.
Sometimes he hams things up for the video, you see. He's not actually racist. He doesn't actually have a problem with like black and white people getting together. What he actually doesn't like, he's just hamming things up, you see.
I honestly don't care that much.
He doesn't care that much. He made a 20-minute video. He sat in a room by himself and just talked to himself for 20 minutes, edited that video, and put it on YouTube to make money, but he doesn't actually care about it. He would like the record to show that he's not actually mad.
I'm just tired of propaganda being.
He's just tired of propaganda. Propaganda that tells you that, black people and white people can get together romantically if they want. He's tired of propaganda saying that women don't have to be victims of violence. He's tired of propaganda that says trans people can exist. He's tired of propaganda, people. He's not bigoted. He just doesn't like propaganda.
Shoved in my face more than anything. And yeah,
sure, I totally believe that.
And this show's woke as fuck.
See, he's not the show is just woke as fuck. Don't you get it? He doesn't know what woke means. He can't really describe what woke means. He uses woke in different contexts at different times to describe different things. But, he's not actually woke. He doesn't actually care. He just, stuff, I guess.
It's diverse as hell. It's
diverse. That's a big problem with media. It's like the diversity. It's not the writing. It's not like giant corporations like buying IPs off to sell like schlop to people, or like microtransactions or like giant corporations like stripping away the artistry of movies or TV shows or video games just to milk money out of the consumers. No, it's diversity. That's the real problem with modern day media. It's the color of people involved making it, not the people on top controlling everything and like sucking all the creativity and everything good out of something just to, maximize their profit margins. It's the diversity.
Obvious female empowerment
Female empowerment. That's the real problem.
story. That's really the most annoying thing of all.
That's the most annoying thing. It's the female empowerment. That's the worst part.
Lucy is an obvious Mary Sue.
Lucy is an obviously Mary Sue. Even though I've spent the past, 10 minutes complaining about the other characters not being Mary Sue. Like, I complained about Lucy being a Mary Sue. I complained about Maximus not being a Mary Sue. I'm, like, super even about, like, my criticisms. As long as they're, like, not a white guy. Right? Is that what's happening here? Is that the lesson we're learning here?
All of the men around her are incredibly pathetic and weak. The trans...
Okay, of the three characters, the three named characters male characters she's interacted with, her brother, one of the most competent characters in the series, as we'll find out later on. Her cousin's kind of the comedic relief, which is supposed to be like to contrast the physical differences between him and Lucy's younger brother, and her dad, who's a straight murderer. So, I mean, I wouldn't say they're all incompetent, but like it's a female character, so you think all the men should be considered incompetent because she's able to do shit on her own. So I think your definition of like competency is like kind of swayed because of that.
Male character was more of a man than Maximus.
So you agree that gender is a social construct. How very woke of you.
One of our main characters. You would think black people would make more of a stir about this, but as you saw with my Spider-Man 2 review, no.
Obviously not all black people. A lot of my viewers are, oh cool, he's going with the I can't be racist, I have black friends argument. That's cool. That's really not all black. Yeah. Cool.
They totally love Miles Morales.
I don't understand why he's talking about Miles Morales now. He's like this entire video, like every couple of minutes, he just goes on a tangent about something else he doesn't like. And it's like really frustrating because like his complaints about Fallout have been like very surface level. And like he uses a bunch of buzzwords about like things his audience already agrees with him on to like bolster his opinions on Fallout. Like it's bad because, it's the same studio that made Rings of Power. I don't like wimpy black characters like I dislike Miles Morales. I don't like Mary Sue female characters like Rey from Star Wars. You get the point. It's like he needs like 100 different examples to, explain away his opinions, but he can't explain his opinions in like a vacuum. It's like really frustrating.
Who's fucking Urkel incarnate. So I guess we're gonna continue to see these characters in the future until showrunners and game developers start getting called racist for this pathetic beta male stereotype.
Why would they get accused? Okay.
And yeah, I don't think I need to bring up again how heavily they've shit on the Fallout lore.
I mean, you've been saying that a bunch of times. You haven't really fully explained yourself. So I would appreciate you bring it up one more time just to like explain what you mean. instead of just like hand wringing and like clutching like a fucking faggot, like a whiny little bitch. Like, fucking explain what you mean. Talk to me. Talk to me about like what you actually believe in instead of like, ugh. It's so fucking frustrating.
Already in the first episode. I'm really, really not looking forward to
Then don't watch it, dude. Don't watch it. Life is too short to like watch something you don't like. I mean, you already don't watch shit because they're like too many black people or minorities or whatever, and that's fine. I mean, it's not fine. You're like incompetent and stupid and a fucking dipshit racist, but you know, you shouldn't force yourself to watch something you don't want to watch that you clearly don't like, all because of like the YouTube algorithm because you're a fucking whore. Because like here's my problem. I don't think you actually believe this shit. I think you have an audience who may not know exactly why they dislike something, but like you're just repeating yourself over and over again that it's bad. And they like that because you're, you know, echoing their same opinions. But like you don't actually I don't think you agree, I don't think you believe anything you say. I think this is like content farming. You're just trying to make money because you're like a fucking whore. And like your media literacy is like really fucking incompetent, and you know Fallout's like really popular, so you're gonna get a lot of traffic from like new Fallout fans, and you know you say the right things to the right people, you might get a couple like hundred of people, a couple hundreds of you know, a few hundred people who've never heard of you like subscribe to you or whatever, but you don't actually care. Like you've demonstrated this enough throughout like 20 minutes of just like talking nonsense over and over, like repeating yourself over and over again, not really explaining yourself, admitting to your audience that you don't really care or like this, you're just putting it out there for content. And, you know, if that's how you want to live your life, that's fine. But I don't know. I think someone who purposely talks about things they don't like doing um, is like, for, is just leads a fucking sad existence.
watching the rest of this. I just know when they show the huge crater where Shady Sands used to be, it's just going to be a giant middle finger to all the fans. And I've heard Mr. House also shows up in this show. And to spoil a plot point from later in the show, they confirm that Vault-Tec fired the first nuke, which completely ruins the main theme of Fallout.
It doesn't. It really doesn't. It like Fallout has a lot of themes and has like a lot of things it wants to say about a lot of issues, but like the underlying theme is like war never changes. But yeah, war never changes. It doesn't matter if there's no countries anymore. Like war never changes. All it takes is like the desire to commit war and the desire to commit violence for war to happen. And like in that vacuum, yeah, I could see like an independent like an independent like business, like a multinational corporation taking the place of a government and committing war. That's not impossible, right? How, like, do you think war can only happen between two nations or like states or governments? No. War happens, war can spread up from like any power source, whether that be private or public. And if Vault-Tec was the ones who dropped we don't even know actually if the Vault-Tec dropped the bombs. Like if you want to get like nitty gritty about it, they just say they're planning on it. So like the ghoul in the past finds out his wife's planning, like Vault-Tec is planning on dropping the bombs, and then chronologically the next scene you see him in, he's divorced from his wife. So maybe hypothetically they'll explain this in like later seasons about like what happened after that meeting, but maybe Vault-Tec got caught before they can drop it. And then someone else dropped the bomb using the plans that Vault-Tec was going to use. It's possible, right? Because, you know, I'm sure I'm not the only one who noticed the Vault-Tec logo on a lot of the, like, the drop the bombs on New Vegas and Fallout 3. That's very possible. They can go in a lot of different directions. But, like, you're getting upset over something the show hasn't established. You're getting upset about, like, the mystery that the show wants to tell. You're getting upset over, like, just the implication that things could be different from what you assumed. Because that's the beauty of, like, lore. It can be manipulated in such a way because of unreliable narrators. That's kind of why I love House of Dragon, the show. It's way different from the book. The book is, like, written like a textbook. It's written from, like, different perspectives, and, like, some things happened the way the show shows, but some things were wrong. Some things completely different, and it's all about just the unreliability of the narrators and, like, history being written. You got to view established lore as not concrete, but just as a foundation for to telling good stories. Like, this seems, because if it followed everything of the established canon, it wouldn't be, like, I mean, it'd be a good story, sure, but, like, I would know everything that happened. I don't like watching a story or watching a movie or watching a show where I know everything's going to happen, even if it's an adaptation of like, something else. Like, you gotta adapt shit, man. Like, yeah, I can be annoyed about, like, certain changes, and I'll agree with you on on some things, but, like, this weird nitpicky, like, you're personally invested in, like, lore that wasn't really mentioned but established, like, 20 years ago, that didn't exactly happen the way way you implied that it happened, is, like, really, really weird. And, you know, 9 times out of 10, it's just kind of like a cloak for you to complain about, like, social issues.
These fucking far leftists don't even...
Fallout has always been leftist. It's always been, like, a left-leaning bent. Like, I'm sorry, dude. Like, if you don't get that by now, I don't know what to tell you. It's like, it's the lack of media literacy, man. If you can't tell, like, the politics of the Fallout series by this point, I think you're either lying to me, you're lying to your audience, or you're lying to yourself. Because I don't think you're that stupid. I think you're dumb, but I don't think you're that stupid.
listen to the opening monologue or the ending one. War never changes. That's what the...
Yes, war never changes. Even in a society without governments, war will happen. Yeah. All it takes is the ability to commit violence, the desire to commit violence, and, like, a justification to commit violence. War never changes. It doesn't, as long as you have those 3 aspects, you're going to get war no matter who or where you are. How does that destroy the main theme? How does that destroy the theme of Fallout? How is a private organization acquiring too much power, too much influence, and deciding to destroy its competitors, this point being other governments? How does that destroy the themes of War Never Changes? I don't understand this.
fucking series is about, but you stupid fucks are so obsessed...
See, like, here's the thing. I feel like you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. and this is just you being like autistically upset about like something contradicting your own personal opinions. So I'm gonna be. How does this destroy the tone? I mean the theme. How does Vault-Tec being involved, more involved than what was originally applied, ruin the theme of War Never Changes? Because I remember, what was it, Fallout 3, Mothership Zeta? Didn't the aliens drop the bombs? Wasn't that what happened? Does that violate War Never Changes? Because it's an it's an outside civilization doing it. Is no, like I don't get it.
With capitalism, you think it's
Oh, okay. Any criticism against capitalism, it means it's far left, dude. Fallout's the wrong fucking series for you, dude. Jesus Christ.
about corporation bad. That's what Fallout.
Yes, Corporation Bad is a huge aspect to the Fallout lore. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Yes. Yes.
Fallout's really about. The game's
It's not what it's all about, but yeah. Anti-corporatism is like a huge aspect of like Fallout's established lore and backstory and like tone. Yeah. Like, see, like it's that like snide attitude he has. Like, he says something objectively right, but he says it with his a shitty tone of voice, and he thinks that's an argument. Like the 13-year-olds who watch this will probably think, yeah, this guy knows what he's talking about, but like he clearly, I think maybe he is stupid. I'm not sure. You know what? Maybe he is dumber than I thought he was. Because this ain't it.
Literally tell you what the theme is word for word.
How does Vault-Tec dropping the bombs change the meaning of War Never Changes? How? How does it change? What does War Never Change to you? War Never Changes mean to you? Because to me, it means humanity is like bound to like the. I don't even know how to describe this properly. Because to me, like, that means like there's something deep within like the human psyche that kind of drives us to war and conflict and to destroy people. Because what's the quote at the end of Lonesome Road? If war never changes, human people must. We have to move on from like our like darker instincts of the past. Like, we have to move to the future instead of getting stuck in the past. Right? Isn't that like the main theme of like Lonesome Road and like Fallout, like New Vegas in general? The problems with the NCR and the Legion are they're both stuck in like ideologies that have failed like years ago instead of like trying to form something new and different. Isn't that what you're doing? You're stuck in like the lore of games that came out 20 years ago instead of letting like the series like organically change and evolve into something new. And like you're upset about that because you've attached your ego or like your sense of self-worth to, I don't know, lore bits you've read on the Wikipedia page from Fallout 2 or 1 like 5 years ago. Like, is that worth it? Is that where we are in life? Is that like the state of art and media? Is like, I don't care if the show is like competent. I don't care if like artisans like are like working on a project. It's like they don't. It's not exactly like this paragraph on the Fallout Wikipedia. so it must suck. And there's black people in it, so it must be woke. Like, dude. Come on, man. I would say you're better than this, but over the course of the last 20 minutes, you clearly aren't.
Now that it's not America or China's fault that the world ended, the entire message of the series is ruined.
Really? War Never Changes is only true if China or America did it? Really? It's not like humanity's desire for violence and warfare isn't integral to like humanity itself. It's a direct result of China or America. Really? So war never changed. Okay.
Guess the silver lining of all of this is there's only a few gaming franchises I still even care about anymore, and it's only
not that many all-white game franchises, unfortunately. This guy's gonna be super pissed off when GTA 6 comes out.
a matter of time till those are destroyed too, and then I can
I mean, your definition of destroying are like black and white people fucking, so yeah, let them be destroyed.
truly be apathetic about the entire gaming industry.
I bet you're still gonna make a video about it. Try to make some money. Apathetic retards, man.
So yeah, as if I even had to tell you, don't watch this show. I mean, if you like this show on any level, I've lost any and all respect for you. In fact, I don't think I even view you as human anymore if you like this show. Yeah,
yes, it's black people, it's gay people, it's trans people, it's brown people, it's people in interracial marriages, it's kids resulting from said interracial marriages, people who like Fallout 4 and people who like Fallout the show are no longer people in Synthetic Man's eyes. Did he make a video called Straight Men Stay Winning? Okay.
Go that far. You can quote me on that shit. So please, for the love of God, do not hate watch this show. That's about it. See you next time, guys.
This video fucking sucks.
Fallout 4 is a game in which you must experience the daily